All right, we're going to take a look at some decimals here. So we're going to look at adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing decimals. Okay, so the first one, we got 0.07 plus 0.7 plus 0.35. Okay, so let's start off with the first two, right? We're looking at 0.07 plus 0.7, which is really 0.70, right? So now we're good. Where people get into trouble is if they don't line up the decimal points correctly, right? And then they put a 0.7, add 7 together, and then you don't get the right answer. So in this one, 7 plus 0 is 7. Again, 0.77. Okay, and the second one's easier, plus 0.35. Again, make sure the decimal points line up. And then some basic addition here, 7 plus 5 is 12. Carry that 1, 11, 1.12. All right, that's our answer. And again, that's just the main point here, is making sure you get those decimal points to line up. That means you have to add a 0 to something. That's perfectly fine, and that'll get you where you want to go. I'm adding decimals. Okay, subtracting. Okay, again, so what if we have our 0.07 minus 0.7 this time? Okay, so really the easiest way to do this is to flip it, where if it was 0.7 minus, so we'll do that, 0.7 minus 0.07, that would give us 0.63. So when they flip it like this, that means the answer is going to be negative. Is just flip it right back so it's easier to do, and then we just throw a negative on it, right? So this answer is negative 0.63, right? That's much easier to do than anything else. Is just subtract it, bigger versus smaller, and then throw a negative on there when you're done. Okay, multiplying. Okay, so this is pretty much just, you know, your multiplication tables and then knowing where to put the decimal. Maybe that's a little bit confusing sometimes, right? 4 times 3 is 12. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 1 is 25. Get rid of that thing, right? And then 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 6, 6. And add them all up. 8.82, right? So you have 2 decimal places here, so you go over 2 to get your 8. If somehow you get confused on this and you're not sure where to put the decimal place, is try to use common sense, right? You know, you got 6 and a little bit of change times 1 and a little bit of change, right? So 6 times 1 is 6. So I mean, if you have answers that are like 15 or 20, or you didn't know where the decimal place was going to be and you thought maybe it's 0.882, or you thought maybe it's 88.2, is if you just sort of use the common sense of it should be, you know, a little bit more than 6, right? So 8.82 would be a little more than 6. And last one, probably the hardest one for most people, dividing decimals. Okay, 4.8 divided by 0.03. Okay, so how do we do this one? So what you're doing here is you just need to know like a real simple rule, right? Is there's 2 decimal places, we move over and then we can get rid of that 0.03, and then we got to do the same over here, 1, 2, and that second one is just going to add a 0, right? And now we're not going to have any decimal places at all, so that's going to look like 480 divided by 3, right? And then from here we can solve it. That's 160. Okay, maybe we'll look at another one of those, since a lot of times people feel more uncomfortable with this one just because it seems a little bit weird, but that's all you're ever doing is getting rid of all those decimals, and in most cases you'll have to add a 0 or 2 or more. 5.6 divided by 0.008. Okay, so here we have, right, 1, 2, 3 decimal places to get rid of that decimal in front of 008, and that means we're going to go 1, 2, 3 over here, right? And that means 2 zeros after the 56. So now we have 5600 divided by 8 equals 800. And that's how you do those.